If you're here, it's because you need help learning how to track your food. So today I'm going to be using a weighted scale to track my food. And the reason why I'm using a weighted scale versus something like a dry measuring cup is because if I were to read a serving size of something and it tells me a quarter cup, I could technically grab this quarter cup of something into a heaping scoop and get a whole other serving or a quarter serving added on top of there. And to me, I would consider it a quarter cup, but for accuracy purposes, for tracking and making sure you're getting in the right calories or making sure you're in your deficit or not, using a weighted scale will be your best bet to just make sure you're as accurate as possible. There's many different reasons why someone would want to track calories. It doesn't always have to be an insane body transformation physique goal. It could just simply be for your own educational purposes, like learning serving sizes, macronutrients, and how many calories, again, to consume in order to maintain a healthy body weight. But also, tracking does benefit you if you are someone who does want to get a body transformation. You could either be in a surplus, which is eating over your maintenance calories, or you can be in a deficit, which is eating under your maintenance calories. So what maintenance calories means is how much you need to consume in order to maintain a healthy body weight. Tracking is going to be your best tool and your best friend in order to get there. In order to track your calories, you do have to figure out how many calories you're supposed to be consuming and whether you want to be at your maintenance body weight or if you want to lose weight or if you want to gain weight. I will link a website that you can go to and you can input your information and it'll tell you how many calories you want to consume based off your goal. After you figure out how many calories you're supposed to be consuming, you would then go into your calorie tracker app and input that amount of calories that it said into the app. There is also a macronutrient calculator that I can link as well. And this will tell you how many fats, proteins, and carbohydrates you're supposed to be having in a day. And it also will give you different options, whether you want like a low carbohydrate macronutrient profile. And then you would input those macronutrients into your app as well. So now at this point, you have your weighted scale, you have downloaded your weight tracker app, and you are ready to track your calories. And now it's time to track your first meal. And you don't know how to do that. So let's do it. The stigma with tracking is that it's tedious. And while, yes, I do agree, there are ways to make it easier on yourself, such as eating very simple meals, such as rice, protein, and vegetables. Keeping your meals really simple will just prevent you having to track 700 different elements for one meal in an app and having to weigh this component and then weigh this component and then weigh this component. I personally like to keep my meals super simple. So I'm going to show you how I make my lunch. And this is how I would track it as well. And of course, meal prepping will always make your life easier when it comes to just getting in food in general. And something I always have on hand is 2 cups of cooked rice. I always keep it in the fridge and I eat it 1 to 2 times a day. And it's just really easy on time when I don't have to make a new pot of rice every single day. It tastes exactly the same. Put some water in it, heat it up, keep it moving. And I also cook 2 pounds of ground beef, and I always have some type of protein in the fridge prepped. I usually actually have always 2 proteins prepped. I usually eat eggs in the morning with a protein with yogurt or something, so I don't really need meat in the morning. But for lunch and dinner, I always have a protein prep, whether it's chicken, whether it's salmon, whether it's ground beef. There's just always a protein. So for today, I'm going to have a really simple meal that's going to take me maybe 10 minutes to make. Prepped rice, prepped ground beef, some peppers, and some onions. And I'm just going to saute them and add it on top of the rice and beef. And I'm probably going to add some sriracha. And I will show you how to weigh a sauce or something as well if you were to add that to your plate. Believe it or not, you do have to track your oil. So what I would do is take the lid off the bottle, and I'll put the bottle on the scale, and then I would tear it out. And once it says that number, I would then take the bottle, and then I'll put a little bit oil in the pan, and then I'll put the bottle back on here, and it'll tell me I use 7 grams or 10 grams of oil. And even if you're using something like a jam or a spread or cream cheese, you would simply just take the lid off, put it on your scale. So then once you tear it out, you will take your serving out and it'll say negative in a number. So if you wanted 10 grams, you would do it until it said negative 10. And that's how you would know you took 10 grams of the jam or cream cheese or whatever you're using out of the container. I am now going to put my plate on the scale, tear it out so I can weigh my bell peppers. 92 grams of peppers. And then I'll put my bowl back on, tear it out. 44 grams of onions. Put the bowl back on the scale, tear it out so we can weigh our jasmine rice. I usually do 1 serving of rice, which is 50 grams. And I would go ahead and put 50 grams of rice in my app. Right here we have 6 ounces of beef, so I would go in my app and record 6 ounces of ground beef. Now, some seasonings do have calories, but this Kinder's one does not. But I have this other one that is 5 calories per serving. So if I were to use 2 teaspoons, I would be adding 40 calories to this meal. All I'm using is salt and pepper for this, and those don't have any calories. So now I have my completed bowl back on the scale, and I'm going to tear it out again so I can weigh my sauce. The sauce I'm going to be using today, and if we turn it over to the back, you can see that 15 grams of this is 35 calories. You don't have to do the full serving, so if you only wanted to do about 20 calories, you can just cut the serving size in half, and you'll go in your app and put half of a serving, and that is how you track a meal.